Welcome back to Talk of the Town on 99.7, 1450 WHTC and WHTC.com.
We welcome you back to Talk of the Town for this Tuesday, September the 29th. I'm Gary Stevens. We'll be open line following the 11 o'clock news. Eddie Vandenberg will be joining us in about 15 minutes or so. What's new around Holland? If you missed our past half hour with the investment advisors, Jack Godfrey and Terry Cooley from the Cooley Godfrey Investment Group, that segment is now podcast on our website at WHTC.com. Before they came on board, we had a good phone conversation with Leonard Steinhorn, Professor of Communication, Associate Professor of History at American University. He's also CBS News' political analyst. He'll be part of the team that'll cover tonight's debate that you can hear at 9 o'clock here on 99.7 and 1450 WHTC, and the first presidential debate between President Donald Trump and challenger Joe Biden. But it is Tuesday morning, so our 10 to 11 o'clock hour is devoted to answering your yard and garden questions. We say, not only do you want to see what you would like to have in your yard and garden, what you want to keep out as well. Talk about the birds and also talk about maybe a few animal topics. She is also a veterinarian, and that is the master gardener, Jan Meeuwsen from DeBruyn Seed, Washington and Elm in downtown Zeeland. She joins us via the Google Meet connection from the Mr. Butternut building in downtown Zeeland at the corner of Washington and Elm across from Venomous Mobile. That is Jan Meeuwsen. Jan, good morning and welcome back.
Good morning again to you too.
And of course, we had our conversation during the morning news, and we talked a lot about the rain situation and the impact that the rain will have that we've had so far. More on the way. Our agricultural friends are happy about that. Yes, they did need it. Yes. Some people who took your advice, Jan, when we had the watering restrictions back in August among the customers in Wyoming. They took your advice, that the grass will recover, and it certainly did. But our agricultural friends, they needed the rain, and they got it. Only one problem. The skeeters might be more prevalent now because we're not getting any freezing situations that will send the skeeters into insect heaven. Let's put it that way.
Well, you remember last year, I think we had an early frost, but then the mosquitoes came back when it turned warm again. So don't be lured into that trick of, oh, it's really warm now or it's really cold now, because it can warm up again too. So as quickly as it can cool down, it can warm up, although I don't see that in the long range forecast, but you never know. I didn't see rain in the forecast for this morning either, and it poured here just a little bit ago.
Yeah, well, it's going to go away, and then the rain comes back a little bit later on. So if you have a question for Jan, she'll be happy to take it at 395-1450, 395-1450. Let's do this segment now. Some of the more pressing questions that Jan and the staff at DeBruyn had to answer. She catalogs them and then puts them as award winners. And we always play this when we have our award winners. Time now for some of the top topics discussed at DeBruyn Seed. But before we get to those top topics, we have somebody that needs to have a question answered. Good
Certainly.
Morning. You're on WHTC's Talk of the Town with the Master Gardener.
Yes, I have a question. I was raking out some dead grass and found a lot of grubs. Is it too late to put the grub X on?
Grub X, yes, but you can put Dilox down right now, and water it in well, and that should work on getting rid of some of those grubs. If they're that near the surface that you're raking and getting them, yes, they can be killed.
Okay, thank you very much.
I
You're
appreciate the
welcome.
call. 395-1450, 395-1450. Grubs have been in the awards category before, but not this time around. But we do have our insect of the week, and I've been warning people it's going to come. It's going to come. They're here, the stink bugs.
The stink bugs are here. I've had so many people tell me that they're in their backyards or they're coming in their houses already. So just be prepared. Get out there with your home defense. Do that band around your house, from the house out 4 feet and then up on the foundation, around the doors and windows. You'll keep out those stink bugs. Keep them outside. They can hibernate outside somewhere, not inside your walls.
Yeah, we don't. You cannot freeze them like Mr. Freeze with the freeze guns. That would be nice. That's one way of getting the bugs out of there. But we don't have that technology. It's not for public use. Don't even try to find one of those guns on
That would be kind of fun, though.
It reminds me of the old Calvin and Hobbes thing where Calvin always wanted to get a flamethrower.
Would be fun. Yes, would be fun.
Yeah, you don't want the flamethrower and you don't need the freeze gun with Mr. Freeze. We talked, and the caller talked about the grubs, which isn't a major problem right now, but it can cause the stinky problem of the week to come around if you don't deal with the grubs.
Yeah, the skunks have been around. They were in my backyard too. They looked, but they went to the next. I didn't have any grubs, so they went on. But yeah, I smelled them out there one night. They make a mess. They put their little nose in the ground, and then they go do a 100 or 360-degree turn around. And then if they smell out grubs, insects, or whatever, then they dig up in those areas. And I'll tell you, they can dig up a lawn in a night. They can make a huge mess looking for anything to eat. So, you can put the dye locks down now. Make sure you put down the right stuff. Don't put Grub X down right now. That prevents eggs from hatching. We've got grubs now. So now we need to put the dye locks down to kill what's there. And you have to water it in well. Mother Nature seems to be doing that for us right now. Thank you very much. And get those killed. I mean, if they're that close to the surface, get them killed. It's not an overnight solution for getting rid of skunks, though. They're going to keep coming back night after night after night. If your lawn was a haven for them, the insecticide does not seem to stop them at all. So this is something that, maybe you could put some motion activated lights on. They don't like that. If all of a sudden a bright light comes on, they'll leave. So maybe you might consider doing that in your backyard. Might be a little irritating this time of year when they keep coming back and forth, but it might be well worth it. Playing a radio back there, so it sounds like someone's back there. Talk radio might help also.
That's where the Mark Levin show from 10 at night to 1 in the morning would be very effective. Skunks don't like Mark Levin. 395-1450. Good morning. You're on the line with the Master Gardener, Jan Meeuwsen.
Yeah, Jan's talking about skunks. I was in there last week and I got some animal stopper. That doesn't do nothing.
No, they're going to.
I sprayed it all around. And this morning I got up again and it looked like there was a bulldozer out here last night.
Yeah, skunks
and boy,
do not
they can do a job, but animal stopper, that don't seem to help at all.
Well, we have to remember what they smell like, and there's nothing that's gonna be a worse smell than them. So, unfortunately, they are not stopped by any kind of repellent. And it's not a one thing. The bright light going on might help. Sitting out in your backyard all night might help too. They might stay away just because you're there. But yeah, it's a situation that is really kind of a nasty one. Once hey, once the grubs are gone, they'll go on to the next lawn, but it takes a while. So there is a trap, and I'm not kidding. It's called a skunkinator. Set it up. They'll go in, and the worst thing about traps is they'll spray you if you go near them. This is a trap. They can't see you, can't see out when they're in there. So you can actually pick up the trap without them spraying you and do the witness relocation program on them. And that might be one way of getting rid of the family of skunks.
Okay. Appreciate the call. Thank you. 395-1450, 395-1450. This is more of I always say this is more of a problem in the spring, but we're getting it now. Moles.
Yes, everybody wants to get rid of them before winter because we're told we're going to have a hard winter. And that means the moles, if they don't take care of them in the fall, they'll just stay active in your yard all winter long. And then in the spring, you have a huge problem. So take care of the moles right now. Traps, poisons, whatever you need to do to get rid of those moles. If you're going to set a trap, make sure that there is no sunlight getting down in there. Take a 5-gallon bucket, put it over top of the trap so it's dark, so they don't, if any sunlight's on it, they're going to just go right around it. So we want them to go through the trap, not around it. And the same thing about the poison. When you put the poison in the hole, make sure no sunlight gets back down. Cover up that whole well.
395-1450. If you have a question for the Master Gardener, Jan Meeuwsen, she'll take it at 395-1450. Let's talk about grass. And the product of the week is fall lawn fertilizer.
Yes, this has been, I have never seen a grass season like this fall. Everybody seems to be putting in yards or repairing them. We are near the end of the season to put down grass seed. You probably still can safely put some down. I would probably put down something a little higher in ryegrasses so things come up quicker. I wouldn't do a real heavy Kentucky bluegrass because you're going to have to pray that the air temperature stays above freezing for the next 2 months, and I don't think that's really going to be something that's going to happen. But you can get some grass up. Mother Nature's complying with us right now and giving us some rain, so you don't have to worry about sprinkling too much anymore, hopefully. But we just have to make sure that the temperatures stay warm enough and we still get rain so you can get that grass up and growing. Remember, 5 pounds for every 1,000 square feet that you have. You need to put that amount down. Don't skimp on that. That's the big thing. And remember, fall fertilizer. If you're putting down grass seed, a starter fertilizer, otherwise a fall fertilizer. Get it down so the grass will have a good base for the winter months, so it will be green and alive next spring.
Now, other activities, the fun activity for the week is don't rake your leaves.
Yeah, okay, why bother raking the leaves?
Okay.
Go over with your mulching lawnmower and catch them, or you can just keep going over until they're the size of a dime. If they're the size of a dime or smaller, you can actually let them stay right there. They'll add organic matter to your grass during the winter, and it's a wonderful thing. Or you can sweep them all up, put them on your garden or whatever you want to do with them. But hey, why rake when you can mow?
Yeah, that's
mow and mulch is a good idea.
I believe in that philosophy. The less work you have to do, the better. But I'm generally a lazy person anyway. That's why I let the professionals handle my lawn care. With that, we button up this edition of our award categories on the WHTC Talk of the Town, Yard, and Garden Hour with the Master Gardener, Jan Meeuwsen. Before we talk a little bit more, Jan, about some of the things that are on our list, I do want to touch upon one thing that we try to do on a weekly basis to remind people about getting items for island dogs and save a gato in Puerto Rico. You've been collecting on a regular basis, I would assume. To use the old line, the hits just keep on coming. The gifts just keep on coming.
That's right. People have been very, very generous. I'll collect anything that you've got left over from your dog, cat, horse, pig, whatever you had. If you've got some leftover medication, I'll be glad to take it. Antibiotics, flea, tick, heartworm. If you've got, some smaller bottles of like shampoos or whatever, I'll take that. I'll take some gently used collars. Toys, very gently used. Treats. I mean, if you opened up a box of treats or a bag of treats and your dog or cat hates them, seal it back up, bring it into me. I'll be glad to send it down there. I can guarantee you'll find a dog or cat that will love it. So, I'll take all that stuff. Just bring it into DeBruyn Seed. Just bring it up to the counter. Tell them it's for island dogs, and the guys will get it up here in the office for me. And I just sent some bunch of stuff out last week. Probably send some more out this week. So just keep on it coming.
And one other thing, and we'll move forward back to some of the other topics involving yard and garden work. An MSU Extension online seminar is coming up 2 weeks from tomorrow on October 14th.
Yeah, it's from 11 to noon, and you're going to learn the best ways to landscape around shorelines, or if you have any soggy or boggy areas on your property, learn what natural plants you can plant there that will be able to take it, that won't pollute, will maybe even help clean the area up so nothing gets into the water. It's going to be a really good seminar. It costs $5. You need to register for it at events.anr.msu.edu/wild backyard, or just go on to MSU's extension and just look for their seminars that they're having, and it's called Raining on My Parade. I think it might be a really interesting one.
Yeah, it's that, and we mentioned this when we talked about this on Morning News. Rain questions along the lines. 395-1450, 395-1450. A week from Saturday, October the 10th, it is going to be the tulip plantings. The city of Holland's going to have, along with Tulip Time. The big one, of course, to me, although people like the plantings over at Windmill Island Gardens or along the tulip lanes, but for me, your best bet to go see tulips in the spring is in the 6th Street window on the waterfront plantings, and it's a good time to pull out the annuals and get the bulbs in.
Hey, that's what they were doing at Windmill Island yesterday. They were busy pulling out annuals to get ready to put those tulips in. So they're getting ready. You might as well get ready too. It is a great time. You can not only put the tulips and daffodils in right now, pull out the annuals, put in some fall pansies on top of them, or maybe some flowering cabbage. Those are really fun to do. Or, put in some, decorate with some fall mums. Get some color around your house, and you still have time you can plant pansies. They don't mind frost. So they'll still be, their little cheery little faces will still be around in November. And I can't until the snow falls on top of them, and you might even see them again next spring. So I think that's kind of a fun thing to do. Get some color, after you've pulled out the annuals and put in your tulips. It's kind of dull there. So, hey, putting some color on top's always fun.
395-1450. Good morning. You're on the line with the Master Gardener, Jan Meeuwsen.
Yeah, Jan, when is the best time to put lime down on your lawn?
Well, actually, you can put lime down anytime, but lime takes a long time to work in. So a lot of times it's best to put it down in the fall so you have all winter to get it down into the ground to work. So good time to do it right now.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you very much for the call. 395-1450, 395-1450. What else can you do in the garden besides plant the bulbs, plant a few other things to make it look like there's actually stuff growing there? Not vacant land for anybody to be able to do whatever they want to do with it.
Well, you can still put in garlic. That's always a fun thing to do. There's there's some lettuce and spinach that, that can still go in, maybe some radishes. You can start, mulching up your carrots and your turnip beds. So if you want to pull them out during for Thanksgiving dinner, you want to go outside and your garden's covered with snow. Hey, you've got mulch on top of your carrots. Put a little flag there so you know where they are, and you can pull out fresh carrots for dinner. Christmas dinner with fresh carrots or turnips.
Surprise!
Or yes,
Surprise!
fun.
But the only problem with those carrots, make sure that none of the bunnies go after it.
Oh, I have a horrible problem with bunnies.
Bugs and his friends. No. That's not for them. Let's get to a call, shall we? Good morning. You're on the line with the Master Gardener, Jan Meeuwsen.
Yes, good morning. I have a question, I guess. I have the hydrangeas that are white, and then as the season goes on, they turn pink. How do you trim them, and when?
You can trim them down right now. You can trim off all the flowers. Hey, use them, dry them, decorate at home with them. They are beautiful to bring inside. Don't trim back more than a third of that bush at 1 year.
Right.
So, don't stress it too much, but you can trim that one down right now. Again, I wouldn't go too terribly far down, but you can trim it down now.
Okay, I know I have some other hydrangeas, and I can see the buds, and I know you don't cut those buds off.
Don't cut
I haven't really looked at these other ones. Are the buds really visible with those?
Not
the
yet.
ones I'm talking about,
Yeah,
the
they
white
don't
that turn
form.
to pink.
Yeah, they're not going to form until next spring, so I really wouldn't worry too much about those. The only thing I'd worry about is not cutting more than a third of that plant down.
Right, I've heard you say that.
Yep.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're
thank
welcome.
you very much for the call. 395-1450, 395-1450. We talked about some things that you can plant and surprise people. You got stuff growing in December? Well.
Yeah.
That'll be a surprise. But if you want to put the garden to nighty-night until the spring, there's things you need to do.
Yeah, you need to pull out all the plants, put them on the compost pile or whatever you've got. If they're diseased, you need to get rid of them. Don't put those on the compost pile. Your compost pile is not going to get hot enough to get rid of those. So get rid of that. Pick up any tomatoes, squash, whatever's laying on the ground, and get rid of those. You don't need those to start coming up again next year. And you could incorporate some compost or even the leaves from your lawn into the garden in the fall to get some nutrients back down in there. And you can definitely plant a cover crop to hold that soil down. Rye or oats right now are perfect.
Good morning. You're on the line with the Master Gardener, Jan Meeuwsen.
Good morning, Jan.
Good morning.
Do hydrangeas give off something that would make the plants that are planted beside them change the color? Foliage looks like those plants surrounding them are dying.
I have never heard about a hydrangea doing that. What kind of plants do you have around it?
Lucifer.
Mm-hmm.
All Lucifer. The whole side that touch that hydrangea are all dark brown, like the whole plant is dying, but the other half of Lucifer is fine, and he doesn't touch the hydrangea. I have a cutting from a smoke tree that am experiencing the same thing that touches that hydrangea. The leaves are discolored, and I'm wondering if you have ever heard of that.
No, I've never heard of a hydrangea doing something like that. I would look more into just the mere fact if you don't want them touching each other, you should be pruning them back a little bit. But I've never heard of that one before. That's kind of interesting.
Okay. Thanks for your help.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much for the call. 395-1450, 395-1450. How about dealing with food that will come up in the spring and taking care of them now so that they can come up in the spring, such as asparagus, rhubarb, and strawberries?
Yeah, this is the time of year to put things nighty-night. Asparagus, once it gets hit by the first frost and those little ferny things are kind of looking bad, go in there and cut them all back. They don't need to be there over the winter. And you need to put in some sort of mulch, 4 to 6 inches of compost or mulch or something over top of it, because the crowns have a tendency to grow up and we want to keep them down in the ground. So get rid of the ferny things after the frost and put on 4 to 6 inches of compost on them. Rhubarb, this is the time of year, if you've got it, transplant it. Dig it up out of the ground, cut it up, make sure when you look at it, it's kind of a tuberous thing. Make sure everything's got a little eye on it and you can give it to neighbors or whatever, but it's going to have to be planted right away. Get that in the ground right away, mulch it up, and mulch it up, 2 to 4 inches of mulch, and take off the tops. They're just going to die with the frost anyway.
Good morning. You're on the line with the Master Gardener, Jan Meeuwsen.
For Dr. Meeuwsen, I was wondering I got a couple succulents, like a variety in a planter type thing. There's probably, I'm looking at it right now, half a dozen of them in there. How do you preserve those over the winter? In the garage where it don't freeze or slightly freeze, or under the snow? What do you do?
I know some of them are winter tolerant, but I am going to bring my pot of succulents. I'm going to bring it in the house, and I've had good luck with it overwintering them. Some don't overwinter in the house. Well, you might lose 1 or 2 in the pot, but I am bringing it in the house. I'm not putting it in the direct sunlight right by the window, but I am putting it in a room that's got a lot of light. So I still want it, but I don't want direct sunlight on them. And I'm hoping that they will survive the winter. You don't have to water them that often when they're in the house, but remember to water them occasionally. They should survive the winter with you inside.
Okay. Maybe if I came to your house to look at how much light is in that room, and for dinner at the same time, would really be nice, wouldn't it?
That would be lovely. Yes. You would have to cook.
I'll call you and make an appointment.
All right. Okay. Appreciate the call. Thank you. 395-1450. One more call before the break. Good morning. You're on the line with the Master Gardener, Jan Meeuwsen.
Yes, I was wondering how to treat for winter a dogwood. It's a pink dogwood tree.
Yes. Basically, I would put some fertilizer around the bottom of it. The hollytone would be a wonderful fertilizer to put underneath your dogwood tree, and I would put some mulch around it also. These are kind of they're like little babies, and you have to treat them like little babies. So give them a little food, make sure they are well watered all the way into winter. So, if we don't get enough rain, get out the hose and make sure that stays well watered until winter. A little bit of the hollytone around the base of it, you should be fine for winter.
Okay. Now, I wanted to transplant a hibiscus. Is there a time to do this? Or
you still can do that. Yes, you still can do that. Don't be trimming them down. Usually they're trimmed in the spring. So, but yeah, you can transplant it right now. That should not be a problem.
Okay, but don't trim it down.
Don't trim it down. No, not till spring.
Oh, okay. All right. And that holly cone, you called it for the
hollytone.
Okay, in mulch.
In mulch,
all right.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the call. 395-1450. Good morning. You're on the line with the Master Gardener, Jan Meeuwsen.
Good morning. I have a question, Jan. in regards to the succulents you were talking about with the gentleman,
yep.
Would it be advisable to take them in at this time of the season, or do you think they're okay outside yet for a while before?
I've got mine still outside on my porch, but I've got it. But I've got it right next to the house, so it's a little bit warmer there. But I'll tell you, if it gets down to, if I'm listening to the weather, into the 40s at night, it's coming inside with me.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. I thought you would probably say that. So
yep,
I appreciate the answer.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much for the call, Jan. Thursday, the 1st, is the first day that bow and arrow hunters can hunt deer in the state of Michigan. And so it leads to the fact that while you cannot, put bait out to try to get the deer to where you are because of the issues involving disease, but you can have a food plot. And there's still time to create to put one together.
Yes, you still have time to put a food plot together. There are some things that it's too late to plant, but you still can put oats and rye and wheat in. You could probably do some pasture mixes yet. You might be able to get some clovers in yet too. So yeah, you still can do something. The deer will eat anything that's growing and green. So, it's always a treat for them to see anything green. So, if you even put some rye in and let it grow, it stays green under the snow. They'll paw at it to get at it. So, you've got yourself a little food plot where the deer like to be.
Good morning. You're on the line with the Master Gardener, Jan Meeuwsen.
Can you tell me how to take care of dipladenia over winter? Can you say that?
Yeah, dipladenia, yes, that's fine. I have some of those too. I got them on my deck right now. Once the temperature looks like it's going to get below 40 or in the 40s, I will bring them in. I cut them back to about, maybe about 10 inches tall, and then put them in a sunny room. Don't expect them to do a lot over the winter, but they won't die. They'll just some leaves might form yet, but and then the next spring you can just bring them back outside and then they'll just start growing again. I don't do anything to them during the winter. I don't fertilize them at all or anything. I do water them. But yeah, just bring them inside, cut them back and bring them inside with you.
Thank you.
I appreciate the call.
Yeah, they're too expensive not to save.
395-1450. One last sentiment. Do we say bye-bye to the hummingbirds this week or next week?
They're about done. I haven't seen any of them by my feeder now for about a week. But hey, there's always those stragglers. So if you got a hummingbird feeder, I would keep it up yet through probably Thursday. I would give them that long, and then they have to be through here.
Yeah, because they have to go to warmer climes, and yes. they do not winter well.
No,
at least we don't think they winter well.
No, because they're insect eaters, and the insects are kind of hidden during the winter, and they'd have a little hard problem with that.
You got that right. She is the Master Gardener, Jan Meeuwsen from DeBruyn Seed, Washington Elm in downtown Zeeland. She joins us Tuesdays for the Garden Party on Morning News and this hour for the Yard and Garden Hour. She also hosts the Jan Meeuwsen Garden Show every Saturday morning at 11 here on WHTC. She'll be happy to take your calls at DeBruyn Seed now at 772-2316, 772-2316, DeBruyn Seed, Washington and Elm in Zeeland. Jan, as always, thank you very much. Have a good and safe week, and let's talk again next Tuesday morning.
Hey, that's the date.
Thank you very much. That's Jan Meeuwsen with the Yard and Garden Hour.